Unity Church of the Hills. Today is March 14th, and there is a lot happening, not the least of which is Pi Day. Technically, we're talking about the mathematical formula, but really, let's face it, it's a good excuse to eat pie.
Pie.
So before we get started with our Sunday service, let us know what your favorite type of pie is by typing it in the comments as you say hello to your fellow love streamers. My favorite pie is blueberry pie. That's why I'm Blueberry Tim on your screen.
Chocolate.
Chocolate cream pie.
I'm having pecan pie, and it's pecan pie, not pecan
I haven't
pie.
had a bite yet. You are ahead of me.
This is not pecan pie. It's pecan pie, just like foyer and foyer. Pecan, not pecan. Kim, you're not from here. Do you say pecan or pecan?
We say pecan.
Speaking of hellos,
Okay. Oh,
We say
okay.
pecan.
we all wanted to say a special hello to Reverend Sheree.
Hi, Reverend Sheree.
Hi, Reverend Sheree.
Welcome.
Welcome.
And welcome.
Wish we had some pie to offer you.
Okay, to continue, we've added a few new organizations to our Sharing is Caring program rotation. And this week we're supporting Keep Austin Beautiful, and we all want to do that. We know that Austin will need some extra love post-snowstorm, so we thought it was a worthwhile organization to support. And for every share of our service while we are live, we'll donate $5 to Keep Austin Beautiful. Sharing also helps spread the message of unity, love, and acceptance, which, if you think about it, helps keep Austin beautiful.
Yes. And Sandra Vela, LUT candidate, has moved her introductory session of I Am the Word to Monday, March 22nd at 7 p.m. via Zoom. I Am the Word is the first of a series of channeled texts by Paul Selig. Deepak Chopra described the book as authentic, straightforward truth, straight from the source field. You can learn more and sign up at unityhills.org.
Our monthly virtual board gathering takes place on Sunday, March 21st at 1 p.m. via Zoom. This is an opportunity to stay informed about your spiritual community, connect with your fellow congregants, and ask questions of your Board of Trustees. Mark the date in your calendar. You'll find the Zoom link on our calendar at unityhills.org.
I have to make a little aside comment. I've noticed that we're doing announcements and Bob is just sitting there eating.
Look.
The rest of us. That seems unfair.
I think Bob's just here for the pie.
Is he? I'm just going to have some more pie too.
To become more engaged here at Unity Church of the Hills and become a member. Our new member class is coming up on Saturday, March 27th and on Saturday, April 10th from 10 a.m. to noon via Zoom, taught by licensed Unity teacher Bob Withrow, the Pie Eater, and by our Director of Spiritual Development, Tammy Lorraine. This abbreviated Zoom class is being offered while we are still primarily virtual. You'll learn more about Unity principles and your spiritual home. We would love to welcome you into our community and support you in our journey, your journey as well. Register today at unityhills.org.
That's right. Our theme for this year's Easter is metamorphosis, the ease of Easter, extravagant, extreme, exquisite, excitement. Easter is a time of renewal, both a literal and metaphorical changing of the seasons. It's also a celebration of life, a resurrection of all things new. It is new birth in consciousness, in heart opening, love, and in possibilities. Easter begins on Sunday, March 28th with Palm Sunday and culminates with our Sunday service on April 4th at 11:25 a.m. with Reverend Eliza's message, Let God Be God in You, Anew and Renewed. Learn more about Easter 2021 at unityhills.org.
We mentioned last week that we will honor and celebrate the life of our beloved Bob Heinrichs on Saturday, March 20th at 2 p.m. The service will be live streamed to a special page on our website dedicated to Bob Heinrichs, and the pavilion will be set up for watching the service with your fellow congregants. If the city of Austin moves to stage 3 with regards to COVID cases by March 20th, the sanctuary would then open for additional seating for a total of 50, including family. Whether we are in stage 3 or stage 4, the pavilion will be open for seating for this very special and love service.
Well, that's it for the announcements. Be sure to say hello to your fellow love streamers and make time today for pie. We sure are. We love you.
We love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
I've been grind so long, been trying this stuff for years. I got nothing to show, just climb this rope right here. Thought that the man upstairs was the one that bringing me rain. Since I've been sending up prayers, everything's changed. I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Now all my dreams are coming true. Yeah, I've been waiting for this moment. Good to be alive right about now. Good to be alive right about now. Good to be alive right about now. Hallelujah, let that bass line move ya. Say, hey, it's good to be alive right about now. I was dead in the water, nobody wanted me. I was old news, I went cold as cold can be. I kept throwing on coal, trying to make that fire burn. Sometimes you gotta get scars to get what you deserve. I kept moving on, now I'm moving up. Am I feeling blessed with all this love? I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Now all my dreams are coming true. Yeah, I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now. Good to be alive right about now. Good to be alive right about now. Hallelujah, let that bass line move ya. Say, hey, it's good to be alive right about now. I almost cannot handle it. I could get used to that. I almost cannot handle it. I could get used to this. I think I finally found my It's good to be alive right about now. Good to be alive right about now. Good to be alive right about now. Hallelujah, let that bass line move ya. Say, hey, it's good to be alive right about now. I almost cannot handle it. I could get used to it. I almost cannot handle it. I could get used to this. I think I finally found my hallelujah. 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 It's good to be alive right about now. Good to be alive right about now. Good to be alive right about now. Hallelujah, let that bass line move ya. Say, hey, it's good to be alive right about now. 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 Good to be alive right about now.
I have to wait till the light goes off. to talk to y'all. Good morning. It is so good to be alive right about now. Oh my gosh, one of my favorite songs. And how fun. We had more members of Celebration back for the first time since I don't know when. We've got a handful of people in the building. I understand we went to stage 3, so next week we're going to be open to 50 people. Get your RSVPs in. Right about the time I'm leaving, y'all come back. What's up with that? I'm not leaving quite yet, but we have a very, very exciting day today. First of all, welcome all of you who are in the building, all of you who are on the pavilion, welcome. All of you in Facebook land, YouTube land, wherever you're watching, we're so glad that you're here with us today. It is a special day. My name is Reverend Eliza Bloom Robinson, and I have been your bridge interim here as you've been in a search for a minister. Woohoo! I don't know. I'm feeling so excited about this. But first, a couple of things that we have to say, right? If you're here for the first time, we welcome you. If you want to know more about Unity Church of the Hills, type the word connect into the comments. We have ambassadors who are happy to connect with you. Unity is founded on prayer. We've got prayer chaplains available to get a prayer. Call the phone number on your screen and leave your name, your phone number, and that you have a prayer request. Prayer chaplains will call you back. We want to take a moment to bless our youth and family. They are still meeting 100% virtually, but lots of activities going on, from our teenagers all the way down to the littler ones, and even for the parents. So we bless the teachers, the parents, the kids, and oh my gosh, can't we wait to have all those kids back up on stage. That'll be really fun too. But one step at a time. I'm so glad to see it looks like everybody's got a mask on. Please keep your mask on. We are still following our mayor's and CDC's recommendations for safety, and hopefully that will keep us moving in the right direction, and that's all very, very exciting. So we've been alternating through our mission statement, our vision statement, and our prayer for our minister search. Today, as it happens, we're doing our prayer for the minister search. So before we say it out loud, I really invite you to land and open, right? And we land in our sanctuary and in all of our social media, and we just open space. We have a candidate here today, and we open space. This week is a relationship building week. So as we open ourselves, our minds, our hearts, our ministry to our candidate, she's also opening her mind and her heart to us. And so just as we move through today's service, as we move through the events of the week, we just invite you to really be open. Like, what's possible for Unity Church of the Hills in this next level of evolvement? So we're going to say our statement together, then I'm going to introduce our candidate to you. So together, centered in spirit, we unite in our vision of the spiritual leader who will inspire us to higher consciousness and deeper levels of love and acceptance for all. We trust and surrender to divine order, grateful for our spiritual home and the wonderful gifts that await us. Amen. So I'm going to read her bio, and then I'm going to invite her and her husband up. So hold your applause until I invite them up. Can you do it? Oh no, let's give her applause. Let's invite her here. Why don't you come on up? All right, so as Reverend Sheree Taylor-Jones and her husband Graham Taylor-Jones come to our stage, I'm going to read her bio. Reverend Sheree is joining us this Sunday as a candidate for senior minister. She is a consultant. Go ahead and front and center. I'll go side. She is a consultant, speaker, and author. Her passion is to assist people in questioning their personal beliefs, assessing and analyzing if those beliefs are valuable or need to be changed, giving them permission to release beliefs which no longer serve them, and facilitate in creating new empowering ones. She believes it's in our ability to question our convictions that we are able to create personal transformation, which leads to a collective shift in consciousness. Sheree has a newly published book entitled Turn Your Why into Why Not. She's also the host of a podcast called Belief Busters that supports transformation of consciousness. Sheree, Graham, welcome. 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 Yeah, stay here.
Thank you so much.
Stay here,
Thank
Sheree.
you.
Stay here, Sheree.
Okay.
So I just want to say that we'll have the opportunity to get to know her a little bit better in what we normally do is going deeper. So we're open to questions, not only about her talk, but about her. We'll be collecting those on Facebook. If you're in the sanctuary, we'll have a mic up, so we'll tell you how to do that. And following today's talk will be a survey, and so that'll be available hard copy here in the building and online. So we really want to know your input, so please keep an eye out for that. Those will be emailed very, very shortly. And so I'm going to invite Sheree to the stage to lead us in our opening prayer, and if Roderick would start us with the bowl.
Thank you.
So glad you're here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for what you've done for this community before you just sashay away. Don't sashay away yet. You're amazing. Rev. Eliza, please, please. Yeah. Thank you. What she has done for this community is build that bridge. You've realized you can love at a deep level your minister again. That's a huge gift that she's brought here. I'm ready to love you up. So breathe. Take that nice deep breath in and exhale. And just allow all that busyness that got you here, let it go. Be here now. Bring your essence, your consciousness, your love, your curiosity. Bring it here. All are welcomed. And as you follow your breath, it reminds us that there is something greater within us, breathing us. And so I see that as I look at all your faces. The divine is present. And I welcome you home. I welcome you home. It's been a year, a long road. And so let's just take that moment to breathe in what it feels like to be home, to be here, now, in this sacred space, in this place of love and unconditional acceptance. And we breathe. And we breathe. And let's take a moment to honor all of those who've been dealing with this pandemic, all the isolation, dealing with loved ones who have suffered with this disease. maybe even people we have lost to this disease. And let's just hold them in our love, in our light, as they deal with these emotions, knowing that we can hold and undergird it all. And we breathe. And we honor. We honor this community, Unity Church of the Hills, on the precipice to burst out and rebirth in a new way. I know you can feel that energy bubbling, as I can. And so we hold the knowing for this community that you are attracting the right and perfect minister here now to partner with you, to love you, to walk beside you as we do what is ours to do, not just here, but out in the world. And we breathe. And we breathe and we know that this is a new beginning, a new rebirth for this community. And we say yes. And we say yes. And we say yes. And so it is. Amen.
are changed as we welcome the heart of the teacher. Oh, yes. And our voices all ring out with praise in one accord. Lifting praises, praise up, praise to the Lord. Oh, yeah. Let me hear you say it. Surely the presence of the Lord is right here, right here, right here in this place. Oh, yes, oh, yes. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this holy space. You've got to feel the Lord. Those who see the face. Oh, surely, surely, surely. The presence of the Lord is right here, surely. Surely the power and the love of the Lord is right here. Oh, surely. The presence of the Lord is right here. In this place, yes. Feel it moving, feel it moving, feel it moving in this place, yes. In this place.
Thank you. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Susan, you. You may not know this, but she's attracted me here. And that's a story that I'm willing to share with you. But do you feel that energy? That's God dancing here. So why don't we tap into that energy as we meditate? So if you're willing, allow your feet to be planted on the ground. Allow Mother Earth to just ground you as we do some energy work. We allow the opening of our heart, the opening of our mind. We invite the allness of the universe to be present now. We allow that energy to come in, white, gold, light, bright, blessing us. Opening our chakras, coming in through the crown, all that vision and wisdom opening up in new ways, coming into the throat so that we can share what is ours to share in love and light, moving down to the heart where it's cracked open anew, to love in a way we've never loved before, and moving down into the embodiment, into us birthing anew, We've said we're ready for this. So I invite you to open. Again. Open and allow. Allow the divine to connect with your divinity, to remind you of the truth of who you are, divinely human, here for a purpose, here to create peace, harmony, love in the world, here to make this world a better place. If you're having thoughts, that's all right. Watch those thoughts go by. If you're having like, what is she talking about? That's all right. Let it go by. And be here now. We are talking to your soul. And your soul has 2 questions to answer today in this meditation. And I invite you to go into the silence to answer these questions. And it's a yes or a no. Are you ready to evolve your consciousness? If there's sentences happening, your mind is still, engage, drop down deeper. Yes or no? Are you ready to evolve in consciousness? Yes or no? Second question. Are you ready to answer your divine call? Yes or no? At the sound of my voice, take a moment in thanksgiving for the answers that you received, that you heard. This is an auspicious time. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale. Bring your awareness back to where your butt is on the seat. Feel your feet on Mother Earth. You may want to stretch a little bit. Open your eyes, and I see you. So, there's this favorite comedian of mine who said, you know, after the pandemic, I'm not sure how I'm going to be in front of people again, live. Either I'm going to bomb or I'm going to be brilliant. I'm hoping for brilliant, so hold that knowing with me, please. And the question that we have today is, are you ready to answer the question? Are you brave enough to be accountable for your consciousness? Are you brave enough to be accountable for your consciousness? This past year has been a really powerful year. Wow, we've seen so many people who have to deal with immense change and even loss. For a few, there have been moments of blessings and awakenings. Those who were able to stay strong and centered gave themselves permission to feel all the feelings that were the upheaval of 2020. Feelings such as fear, confusion, and even hope. Hope. As they navigated the unknown and still adjusting to a new way of being. Wow, it's been a year. So I'm going to tell you one of my favorite stories is The Wizard of Oz. I'm a Dorothy girl. I've got some paraphernalia at home. I'm not going to really get into detail right now. But I love that story. And I think I love it because of the many layers and meanings and lessons to be understood. So I want you to remember back to the scene where Dorothy, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion had arrived at the Emerald City. And they were going to see the wizard. But this was not the first time of their arrival. This was the second time. This was after they had faced the terror of dealing with the evil witch. And they even had the broom to prove their accomplishment. And now finally, they had arrived to see the great and powerful Oz. You gotta do it in that voice, right? The great and powerful Oz, who made promises to them if they were able to vanquish the Wicked Witch. Dorothy had dreams of getting back home to her family. The Scarecrow was looking forward to having a brain so he could think. The Tin Man excited about getting a heart so he can love. And the Lion was looking for that courage to finally be that brave king of the jungle. And yet, when they take that witch's broom and they laid it in front of the Wizard of Oz, he refuses their request. He even has the audacity to say, hey, come back tomorrow. Let's talk about it then. They were flabbergasted. No way, no way. And then the wizard tries to intimidate them to leave, right, by showing his power of like immense power. Well, Toto, my favorite, Dorothy's beloved little dog had enough. So what does he do? Runs over to where the wizard is, using a microphone and special effects to have this great illusion of power. And he just kind of takes the curtain, right? Moves it back. And what does he reveal? That the great and powerful Oz is merely a man. Merely a man. And Dorothy is just bringing him onto the carpet, saying that behavior is not acceptable, and she says to him, "You are a very bad man." To which the wizard replies, "Oh no, my dear, I'm a very good man, just a very bad wizard." Go figure, right? So why do I tell you this story? I tell you this story because it's really a wonderful analogy for what we've been dealing with over the past year, right? Just as we push the curtain to reveal the Wizard of Oz for who he really was, right? It's exposing this pretense of omnipotence power to expose the truth. The truth is that he was invested in keeping up the appearance of the illusion of power. Did I get him? All right. So 2020 is calling us to lift the veil on the imbalance of society. The imbalance of society, the unjust economic systems, the broken healthcare system, the damaging caste system that still exists today. Oh my gosh. And across the country, people got to the streets, pandemic or no pandemic. They got on the streets, they marched to bring those hidden horrors to the light. Bring those hidden horrors to the light. And we were forced to then acknowledge that we have a lot of shadows hidden within the human psyche that really need to be called up to be healed. And so for me, I see 2020 as the Great Awakening. The Great Awakening. Now, before you start to throw anything, Let me just preface that with let's go a little deeper there, all right? So I'm going to look at a sacred text. I'm going to look at the New Testament. I'm going to look at Matthew. Now, here's the thing. The book of Matthew happens towards the end of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. And what do we know about that? That sermon is known as Jesus' instructions to us on how to be the Christ in the world. And it's towards the end in chapter 7 that he's talking about the kingdom of heaven. And in Matthew chapter 7, verse 21 to 23, and the title is Concerning Self-Deception. Hear that. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father in heaven. On that day, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name and cast out demons in your name and do many deeds of power in your name? Then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Go away from me, you evildoer. That's some powerful words. That's why I like Jesus as a way shower. He's amazing. He doesn't like hem and haw and do the it's all nice thing, does he? No. He calls it as he sees it. And what Jesus is saying there is, just because you claim you are the Christ, doesn't mean you are. I heard that, right? Doesn't mean that you are. So you may have the nice words, profess faith and morality, but that doesn't mean that you're going to enter the kingdom of heaven. But here's the thing. The kingdom of heaven is accessible and achievable reality for everyone. Why? Because the kingdom of heaven is within us. It's within you. It's within me. And that means that the Christ consciousness comes from where? Within. It comes from within. I have also another favorite author of mine who is John Sanford. And John Sanford has written this book called The Kingdom Within. And it's a really cool book, and I actually learned about it in seminary, where he looks at Jesus' sayings and parables and then really kind of dovetails it to consciousness. He writes this: the kingdom within requires a morality which is not founded on rules and regulations imposed from the outside, but on self-knowledge. This self-knowledge can be achieved through inner confrontation. And so I believe if 2020 was the Great Awakening, then 2021 calls us to do this confrontational self-knowledge work now. That's where we are now. You see, we can no longer pretend and deny that we have hidden shadows. It's not possible anymore. 2021 is about bringing those hidden things to the surface, allowing God to be in the shadows with us, looking at those aspects that we have labeled not of God, things we don't like, loving those things, and then integrating them into ourselves as wholeness. You know, in Unity, we often tout that it's all God, except for the things we don't like. So how do we do this work? I believe we do this work first by looking at our indoctrinated beliefs. Now, in case you're wondering, what are indoctrinated beliefs? Let me back up a little bit. We are born on this planet. We come in as babies and toddlers and kids, and we are these bright, shiny lights filled with love and unconditional acceptance for everything and everyone. We don't care. Black, white, purple, green, live, not alive, inanimate, animate. We don't mind. It's all love. And then for most of us, our families, they think, you know, if this kid stays this way, they're not going to survive on this planet, right? And so they start talking to us about their beliefs. And so many parents, grandparents, other family members, they believe it is their job to prepare children to be able to navigate the world successfully. And it comes from the intention of really wanting them to thrive. But here's the thing. If your family of origin believes that the world is a hard place, they are going to teach you, be tough, be smart, don't let anyone take advantage of you. Or if your family of origin believes that they are entitled to the good life and the best of everything, then they are going to teach you. Walk in the world as privileged, deserving of whatever you deem important, and making sure no one else gets your limited supply. And if your family of origin is biased or prejudiced, then they are going to teach you that that is the right way to view the world. So hear this. And why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because whatever your family of origin beliefs are, that's what you're going to believe. They taught you this. How could they teach you anything else? That's all they knew. But here's the good thing. The good thing is that you're not at fault. You have these indoctrinated beliefs. And you don't have to blame or shame your family for teaching you that, because really they did it from their best intentions. And we've always heard that, and I remember thinking, yeah. But no, really, when you look at, this is all they know to do. This is what they were taught. And then that kind of loosens it up, doesn't it? We don't have to look at them, look down on them, or label them bad. And as children, we are these sponges. We just absorb all this information. And then it gets imprinted into our consciousness. And we believe their beliefs are our beliefs. We believe that. And the reason that I'm telling you this is because I want you to be aware that if you're no longer defended in knowing that you have biases, because that's part of the human experience, my friends. If you're alive on planet Earth, you're going to have biases. Then that allows you to breathe and not be guarded and defended and allow those biases to come up to the light. Hello? So you can love them. So you can be with them. So you can have God imbue them and then integrate them. So you're no longer triggered. With me? All right, good. But now when these beliefs become conscious, guess what? It's your responsibility now to look at these beliefs. It's your responsibility to say, is this belief even mine? Hello? Is this mine? Or is this somebody else's? Is this belief of God? Is this belief of oneness? And then you can discern. Well, if it's not of God and it's not of oneness, then I can release this. And guess what? I could create anew. So I'm going to take one example of a belief that so many of us have, that not good enough, that being not good enough. So let's say we have that. The first thing we do is we do a query. When was the first time I heard that or I knew that? And then who taught me that? You know, maybe I heard it at home, maybe I heard it at schools, maybe it was my mom taught me, my teacher taught me when I didn't get an A on the test, whatever that is. And what you're doing right now is you're starting to deconstruct so that you can construct. Got it? Okay, and then you look at the belief and go, is this belief of God? Is this belief of the divine? Now, in case you're wondering, not good enough is not of the divine. Just in case you're wondering, because I know some people are like, well, no, it's not, because you are more than enough as a divine being of God. So then what we need to do is we need to work this energetically. Energetically. Do you remember the 4th of July, those like sparkler things that used to have? Mine always burned my hands. No matter how long I tried to hold it, I always got that little burn. So for me, that is what I view when I'm working with a belief that I'm working on changing. So my belief looks like that little sparkler. And we have a conversation, my friends, with that belief. We let it know, thank you. Thank you for doing all that you've done to help me survive in the world. I get you are necessary. Maybe you helped me fit in with my family. Maybe you kept me safe. Maybe you kept me feeling secure. But now I'm evolving, I'm awakening, and I no longer need you. I no longer need you. But thank you. And I imbue it with love. You know, our culture is so much about excising things. This is not that talk. This talk is about how do we love what we've intentionally labeled bad. All right? So I love it, and then I envision it being released into the heart of God, the heart of the universe, being loved, being transmuted, allowed back down in through all of my being, because it's been transmuted. It's been transmuted. So now that I've released that in love, notice I'm still integrating it, hasn't gone anywhere, but it's been transmuted. I now get to create a new belief. And this is why we sit in the silence. This is when we connect with the allness of the universe to create something magnificent. Magnificent. And when we create that belief, we then see that energy being imbued with divinity, with love, with allness, integrating our every being. We see it restructuring the neural pathways in our brain so that our thoughts, our feelings, our words, our actions change based on our new knowing. Our new knowing. And that, my friends, is how we create anew. But here's the thing. Each of us, as metaphysicians and spiritual practitioners, are required, did I say that word too strong? Are required to do this work. This is what we're required to do. We are not here to spiritually bypass our thoughts, our feelings, our words, our actions. We are not here to say it's all good when we're coming from a place of insecurity or fear. That's not what we're here for. We cannot change this planet until we change ourselves. That's what's required. We can no longer be comfortable and say, I got mine. You go figure out how to get yours. That's separation. That is not oneness. That is not acceptable any longer. But this is work. It's work releasing the old beliefs, the error beliefs that are not of truth, and creating new beliefs that come from the very heart of God. It's necessary for us as divine humans. It's necessary for the ascension of our planet. This is the work that we're doing. The world cannot transform if we don't transform on an individual level. And then from that individual level, what we do is we transform the collective consciousness. And in that transformation, we are ripping the veil on the illusion of separation and lack. That's not real. And we are saying that is not truth, that will not stand, that is not of God, and we are here finally to live into what our purpose is. My friends, this is how we create heaven on earth. This is the work. So today I'm inviting you. I'm inviting you to be brave. Brave enough to be responsible for creating new beliefs aligned with Source. Brave enough to be responsible for the thoughts that you have, the words that you speak, the actions that you take, and how you show up in the world. That's what I'm inviting you for today. That's the work I want to do. That's the work I want to do with my people. That's what I'm looking for. And if that's not yours to do, say no on that card, baby. Say no. Do you hear me? Because I'm calling you up. And if you say yes, this is the journey we're going on together. So I'm going to invite Audrey to play this clip of Jenna Stanfield. And while it's playing, think about how brave are you going to be and what are you going to do? Blessings.
What would I do if I knew that I could not fail? If I believed, would the wind always fill up my sails? How far would I go? What could I achieve? Trusting the hero in me. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge where true believers dare to tread and never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were
Yeah. What would you do if you were brave? What would you do if you were brave? Ooh, I'm loud. What would you do if you were brave? How would you give if you were brave? How would you stand in the world if you were brave? Are you brave enough to take a look at your consciousness? Thank you, Reverend Sheree. Thank you. Yeah. So it is the opportunity that we have to give at our time of offering. So I hope that you're super inspired. And we know that as we give, so we receive. So be brave in your giving. As we give to Unity Church of the Hills, Unity Church of the Hills then in turns gives on and on. It is a cycle, an ongoing cycle. We certainly appreciate all of the gifts that are given. We have several ways you can give. They're on your screen. You can send a check. You can drop a check. We won't pass the offering bags in the sanctuary today, but we'll have baskets at the back when you leave. You can do it online on Facebook or our website. You can text UCOH to 77977, and we have an app. You know what? If you were brave, maybe you'd give every single one of those ways today. I mean, why not, right? So our offering statement is this. Will you say it with me? Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I circulate, and I am grateful. Feel that gratitude as you give forth. Amen.
This is a remix.
So, before we move into our closing announcements, we have someone who is turning 90 years old on Wednesday. John Camden, would you stand so we can sing you happy birthday, please? Roderick?
Birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you.
We love you, John. Happy birthday. So immediately following the prayer for protection, well, not quite immediately, because we're going to need a little time to turn around. We are going to have the Going Deeper. So for those of you on Facebook and YouTube, get your questions ready. We'll have a mic down here and somebody kind of managing that process. If you've got questions here in the sanctuary, we'll tell you about that in a minute. Immediately following the Going Deeper, around 1 o'clock, you'll all get an email with that feedback form that Reverend Eliza alluded to. So please take a moment to let your board of trustees know what your thoughts are. But for now, we're going to close with our prayer for protection. The three of us are going to read it, and we're using the embodied version. So take it away, ladies.
All right, here we go. I am the light of God. As the light of God, we shine. I am the love of God. As the love of God, we embrace. I am the power of God. As the power of God, we stand in truth. I am the presence of God. As the presence of God, we radiate love. Wherever we are, God is, for we are one. God bless you. Stick around for Going Deeper. Thank you for being here today.
Okay, why do I not have
We're
questions?
6 feet.
Okay, thank you.
We're also.
All right, everybody, we are back. Yay! All right, so what we thought for today is Reverend Eliza has a few questions. I think that we've either already received via email or just that we know generally you guys are probably thinking about. So she's going to get us started. I'll moderate via usual for Facebook and YouTube. And then if you're in the sanctuary and you have a question, Audrey is going to take care of cleaning the mic between questions. As you step up to the microphone, please make sure you keep 6 feet between each other and keep your masks on until it's your turn to ask a question. So we'll just keep everybody safe in here, right? So Reverend Eliza, kick it off. Get us started.
So, Reverend Sheree, I would really like to know, and I know a lot of people do, we've got a web page on you, we've got all kinds of stuff on you, we got the scoop, but I want to hear from your own voice why you think you want to be here, what that call was, what was that moment that you said, I'm going to explore this.
Yeah, I have not applied for a community for a while. I came out of ministry about 2 years ago, and I was doing my own thing, vibing, as they talked about doing the podcast, and I did also transitional ministry. It was a passion of mine because my background is organizational development, so it's a kind of nice fit for both of those. And I saw this community come up on the listing, and I went, my community's there. They're ready. I started to fall in love with this community back when Celebration went to the People's Convention in San Antonio. And I was there as all the other ministers are there. And they came out and I was just like, oh my gosh. I vibe there. That is so cool. So it took a while actually because I was not in full-time pulpit ministry for such a while. I had to go through a whole headquarters re-entry process, which let me tell you is not a light task. You go through a whole like L&O, licensing and ordination process all over again, it feels like, but it's not. Just so that they can bless you, that you can apply. And I thought you were worth it. And so I said yes to it.
And didn't you say something at that conference, something like, I didn't know a Unity Church would have music like this, something along those lines, right?
I did. Yeah. Yep, I did. So if we're vibing on that kind of level, it lets me know that there's a consciousness, right? There's a level of consciousness and frequency that I would vibrate in really well. So that just gave me goosebumps because music, we know, is a ministry, right?
Yes.
If they bring it, then what happens to the minister? The minister's got to bring it, right? And so then together what we're creating is this dynamo of energy that's just got to push past these walls. So that's my thinking, my thought.
It's a good one. It's a good one. I'll tell you what, I did that. I had to go through that a couple years ago too. It's like, it is a big, and you are worth it, I'll tell you. So good for you. So people are curious where you served. Prior to this, you've been doing your own thing, which I totally get that too, but you were also transitional somewhere, and we were senior minister somewhere as well prior to that.
I started pulpit ministry in Lawrence, Kansas. There's about 100 people community, and I started there, and it was really interesting because you know when you first come out of seminary, you're all aglow. You're just walking on water. And you think everything is like peaches and roses. And it was really interesting to find out after I did the genome of like who's been there, how many ministers have been there, what's the retention kind of thing. And I found out in 25 years I was the 19th minister. The 19th minister. So it kind of put things in perspective for me, you know, as far as the community goes, but also I really got this sense that I was complete there. I had worked with them on their finances. We owned an old house that we could not afford to keep, but the community just wouldn't let it go. They just weren't ready to let it go. And it took me about a year to understand that that building represented the youths. And so they were waiting to have enough youth that they could use that building again. And so that, for them, they felt was their legacy. However, it was a very old community. There weren't young kids coming in, and we really couldn't upkeep it. It was falling apart around our ears. So eventually we were able to release that building in love, and then guess what? We had money to actually fix up the sanctuary and do some wonderful things there and really streamline our budget. So for me, it felt like it was complete from that perspective, but I also kept hearing Spirit say, "You're done. It's time to leave." And I fell in love with them, you know, and so I didn't really ready to leave, but I kept hearing it really strong. It's not time to renew the contract. And so I left with the understanding that since I heard that, well, like in 2 months, I would know what the next thing is. Not quite. So it's been a long journey to get here. I've done some also additional training, and I've trained in the Lombard mediation skills. I've trained in interim ministry skills, which talks about transition, so that gives me credibility as I do transition ministry out in the field. I just finished my 6-month contract with a small little community out in Richmond, East Bay, so in the Bay Area.
California.
California, thank you. Like everybody should know. No.
We're in Texas.
Yeah, exactly. And
There are other states?
there are.
Sorry.
Not in Texas. Yeah. So I was with them for 6 months virtually. I never met any of them like in person. It was all virtual. We did a lot of work together. They never had board training. Their bylaws were from 2014. They didn't have financial policies and procedures in place. So I did all of that infrastructure with them. And they were in resistance for quite a little while, too. The average age there was 80. And you know, when you're at that age, you've seen it, you've done it, and you're quite comfortable. So towards the end, I could see that they were really gearing up and stepping into their power. And so that was really wonderful to watch as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've got one from Facebook here. So how do we, as a spiritual community of love and acceptance, ensure that we stay that way as we do the work that you discussed today?
There just needs to be a foundation that whatever we are acting out with at times, underneath that is love. Underneath that is divinity. And I think that we can then really transcend quite a bit of work that we're going to do together. Here's the thing, when we do this work, chaos happens. I'm not going to lie and say, ooh, it's going to be all good. Chaos happens, but that's the inertia for creation. That's what you need to be able to create. So there's going to be some wobbling, but I think, from what I'm told, that this community has enough love to sustain that. That's what I'm hearing. And if you do, then we can do things together. I'm not someone who's from that blame paradigm. I'm always looking at what's the divine nature underneath there. But I'm also going to call people accountable, right? I mean, as you will call me accountable. That's how we grow. Did I answer the question?
You did.
Okay.
Great. Do you have one, Reverend Eliza?
One of the conversations that's happened around here is the first minister, Ron and Lenore Scott, were here a long time, and then Steve and Mary Boland were here for a good 10 years, and then the next ones were only here a couple of years, and now I've been here a few months. So, but there's I think an eagerness for long-term relationship. And so what is it like? I mean, nobody ever goes in except for me saying, I'm only going to be here a few months. I did that consciously. But most people don't get hired in to senior minister with that intention. So just speak a little bit to what your heart's desire is.
I am looking for something long-term. And what I love about that process is the spaciousness. The spaciousness to get to know everyone, the spaciousness to love people from where they are, the spaciousness to understand this community, because there's a lot of layers in this community, you know? And so what that does is I don't have to like be in this rush to get things done, to hit targets. I get to be in relationship, which is really wonderful. as long as it takes. And then when we're all kind of facing the same direction, we get to move forward. It's kind of like the analogy of, you know, those big cruise ships. It takes a lot of inertia to kind of get them moving, right? But before you get moving, you want to make sure, are your systems good? Are we mechanically sound? Do we have enough food? Do we have enough water? Are all of our systems in place? And then, right, then once all of that's there, then we get that nice push to move forward. If we don't do that kind of work together first, what happens is there's this just chaos and no coherence. So for me, I love this idea of the long term because it allows us to cohere. It allows us to resonate. It allows us to then really discern what are we called to do as a community and how do we do it? And I love that thought. I love that process. And here's the other thing I know. This is your community. This is your community. I'm here to facilitate. I'm here to lift up. I'm here to elevate. But it's your community. Did you get that?
Beautiful.
Beautiful. So I've got a question. So Eliza touched a little bit on the process of the ministers that we've kind of moved through into this open space now. There's still some healing work. We've done some healing work as a community. There's more healing work, I think, to do. And then there's just the healing work of the last year that everybody went through. So kind of what are some of your favorite healing processes that you might bring into the community for us to do some healing work together?
Well, I think there's twofold issues going on. Yes, we have the pandemic, right? That's been really stressful and isolated for most of us. But you also have the way that the Grandins left. That's, you know, let's call the elephant in the room. It's here. There hasn't really been much time to do healing work with that either. So there's multiple things that really need to happen to heal. And I think one of the ways to do that is really to do a lot of small group work. You know, to really make the situation where it's comfortable for everyone to be feeling safe to say what's on their heart. In a place of openness, in a place of accepting what their perspective is. Just because you have a perspective doesn't mean that you're right, right? What's that saying? There's my story, your story, and then there's the truth.
Right.
Right? But we all need to be able to voice what it was for us. And then from that place, we move forward. We make a way forward, you know? We all look at what was happening in the past. And sometimes that kind of bubbles over into the present. And unless we do this kind of healing work, we're constantly looking back. We'll be constantly looking, is she going to turn into? Is she going to do this, right? So that's the kind of work that we really need as foundational for us to trust each other, because it is a trust, right? Yes. To trust each other. That we can do this work together, that I'm here to support you, I'm not here to set you up, I'm here to love you, I'm here to see your highest good. And you're not going to know that just from my saying it. How many people have said that before, right? It's in my actions. It's in my slow getting to know you.
It looks like we might have a question. So from the sanctuary, so we're going to just take a moment for that. Thank you so much, James.
Reverend Sheree.
James! Hey. Thank you. I know the face, but the mask was covering it. James! Hi, there you are. Hi, honey.
We welcome you and your husband. Thank you. Welcome. 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 Question.
You asked me so many questions already. Dude, guys, this search team, they love this community. Let me just tell you, they wanted to do their due diligence. I have been through the mill, my friend.
Yes.
Through the mill. Beautiful team.
I
Thank
think
you.
we started talking to you back in, what, November, October?
Yeah, November, I think.
November or so.
I think.
Yeah. The question is, What is the one big ask that you have of this community in order to be successful? Ask. ASK.
ASK.
One big ask.
Ask.
Like me asking?
I should take my mask off.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, what is the one big ask that you have of this community in order for you to be successful?
Great question.
That is a great question.
The mask kind of hit everything.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, that's a great question. I think my ask would be to trust that what I'm saying and stepping into is truth. To give me the benefit of the doubt. To give me the benefit of the doubt. I think that's all I can ask of you.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you.
It looks like we've got another one coming up.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
All right.
There we go.
That's okay. I'm good. Welcome. I say the same thing. I have two questions. One is, can you give us a second lesson that was as powerful as this morning's?
Let's hope so.
I am confident that you can. And the second question is equally flip. I would be delighted to have you here for 80% of the energy that you gave us this morning. And I suspect that, and I'd like to hear you respond to this, comes to you from Spirit as it comes to all of us in opening to you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I am Mary McIntosh. I'm so happy that you are here, and so my heart has been broken open this morning. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Whew. So my question is there a role for social justice in ministry? And if so, what role is that for you?
There better be a role for social justice in ministry. That's why I'm breathing. That's why I'm breathing. Yeah, great question. I could kiss you if I could, but that's a great question. Thank you. For me, ministry is not about feeling good. Yes, it's great to feel good. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with feeling good. But if we say we are the Christ, if we say that there is oneness, then we cannot sit in our comfortability. We are being called to do something. We are being called to create that world. We say it every Sunday. We want to create a world that works for all, but we do nothing. So yes, I believe that there are spiritual principles and practices that are powerful to the individual. And once you get that, then what? My friends, then what? The call is to practice what you know. And it's not just in this room, it's outside this room. That's what I believe I'm called for. And I'm looking for resonance with a large enough group that we can really move forward and do some good in the world.
Yes. Yes. So,
Go ahead.
yeah, so I want to follow that with a question that I think that comes in from Jim. And so his question is, should the senior minister or church leaders present or preach political perceptions to the congregation in church and public social media forums? So it's a pretty direct question. And I think it goes along with, how do you balance social justice with political? And what are your thoughts on all that? I know it's a tough one.
But it is the question of, it is the question. It comes up a lot. So, and it's a question in our unity movement as leaders. So I'm going to be quiet and let her answer.
Yeah. Please.
So hard.
It is a poignant question, and you're right, it comes up. We have a ministers' discussion group on Facebook that's for Unity Ministers, and that comes up regularly, and we're all on different sides of that kind of, how do you balance that? For me, if it's happening in the world, then we need to talk about it. If it's happening outside these doors, how do we look at our spiritual principles and deal with it? So am I political? I'm not political. I don't really believe in the political system. I think it's a construct. Oh, yep. You didn't do those evals yet, did you? Okay. So I think it's a construct that has created such division in our country that's unnecessary, that's damaging. So that's how I talk about it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we've got another question from the sanctuary.
Yes, I'm Lisa Landry, and I wanted to follow up on the social justice statement. Certainly believe in Unity's fifth principle that we must act. How do we act without judgment of our colleagues, of our friends? Because what I love about Unity Church of the Hills is it's a place of love and acceptance. And I love and accept my neighbor who doesn't feel comfortable acting. And so I want to understand your balance on that, because the last thing I want to see is judgment amongst ourselves creating or dissolving the love and acceptance we have today.
Yeah. Good question.
Thank you. All right, so I've got another question here on.
I want to answer
I'm
that.
so sorry.
Sorry. Tammy's so efficient at her job.
I'm too efficient. My apologies.
That's all right. That's all right. Lisa, I think you brought a really juicy question to the forefront, right? So it's in our perception of what is right and what is wrong, right? And so if we are really metaphysicians, if we are really spiritual practitioners, then we get to check in with ourselves to determine, why do we need to make somebody wrong? What's in it in me that wants to be right all the time? What is that about? So when I talk about being accountable for our consciousness, that's what I'm talking about, Lisa. That each of us is responsible for those triggers that happen. Hello? Why are those triggers happening? It's because of the meaning that we are making about a statement. It's the meaning that we're making about a side, meaning that we're making about us versus them. There is no us versus them, my friends. It's all God. Now, we may not like some behaviors from people who have forgotten that they're of God. We can talk about that, right? While still holding their divinity. Still holding their divinity, let's talk about these behaviors and what do we need to change about these behaviors. Does that answer your question? So. Lisa gave me a so. Tell me more. What's your fear?
And can you repeat that for Facebook? Yes.
We're going to repeat the question.
So the question is, within the community, how do we deal with equality, is what I'm hearing, based on if someone does 20 hours of volunteer versus 40 hours of volunteer work in this example. How do we do that? If we are doing what we love, if we are doing what our purpose is, it doesn't matter. Did you hear me? It doesn't matter. So if I'm called for 40 hours a week and that's what I want to do, I am driven for that. Bless you and thank you. If I am called for 20 hours a week and that's all I'm willing to do, bless you and thank you. We got to get out of each other's business, basically.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
And when we sit in judgment of someone, we're judging ourselves. We're judging ourselves. So let's have a little compassion for ourselves as well, right? Because we are under that construct of production, and productivity means value. Well, that ain't necessarily so, right? And so we have to learn to deconstruct that to create a new. And that ain't easy, because everything around us tells us what you do is what is valuable. Beautiful. Lisa. All right, I got thumbs up.
So there's important work for us to do. There's serious work for us to do. And one of the things that you said, I think it must have been in an email because we were email exchanging, is let's have fun. So why don't we talk a little bit about what you like to do for fun? I'm just going to go light real quick because it's important, and I think everybody's thirsty for a little bit of fun. And I know as a community, when we could gather together, we had a lot of fun, and I look forward to all that fun again. So just touch on, what do you love to do?
So I'm really a big goofy kid, which is, a blessing and a curse. Depends on how you look at it. So I like to play, I like to have fun. If I'm not having fun, then there really isn't a point for me to be doing it.
Amen.
Yes, we have tough things to do. Yes, we can step into that. But if there isn't joy, like I'm doing this because it's joyful because I'm seeing where we're going next, or I'm seeing that light bulb go off and something just happened there. Yeah, you're right? That's fun. So on the work side, yeah. I like being outdoors. Obviously, my hubby and I were RVers at this point, so we like being outdoors. We have 2 little chihuahuas that just, they're our world. Unfortunately for you, you're going to see a lot of those pictures. Music just opens me up in a whole new way. I love to dance and just have like a good time. It doesn't have to be anything special. Just sometimes just vibing with someone, and you see them and you can get each other's jokes. Liza, we're good.
The queen of bad jokes.
She is, isn't she? I'm looking out, I'm like, no, oh, Eliza. But it makes me laugh. And that's what it is, right? So it's just that she's like this, I don't know, I just find this joyful partnership, which is, it didn't have to be that way. So God knows I'm grateful.
Yes.
Grateful.
Yes, thank you. And likewise. And Sheree and I, both being Unity ministers, had not met each other. She came into my field of awareness this past year as we were starting to do some of the hard work as Unity ministers and looking at some of the things that came up. And so we actually met this morning. But we feel like soul sisters.
Yeah.
So it's really
Been
lovely.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, I don't have any more questions here. I want to make sure we've been able to address everybody's questions. You should already have, we've got a question, one more.
Well, my question is, we really haven't gotten to meet your husband, Graham, and I'm wondering if there's an opportunity to do that. Do you see him being involved in the church at all? Just wondering how you see him participating in the ministry. So.
Thank you, yeah. Graham is in this unique place, right, of being the spouse. Yes, you are my driver, thank you for that. But I've given him, and I tell this to every community that I work with, it's his journey. It's his journey to discern what is his to do or not do. Whether he comes or not comes, that's his to decide. I'm not his mom or his parent. I'm grateful for the partnership that we have. I'm grateful for the support that he gives me. But, whatever, he's a layperson just like you are, and he'll find his way, and just grateful for you. Thank you.
Yay! All right. Are we complete?
I think we are complete.
Does
There was a
everyone feel
few more
good?
specifics, but we covered generalities. So please fill out your survey form as that comes out in a little bit.
Yeah, the email, it's after 1, so you guys should already have it in your inbox. We do have printed copies if you're in the sanctuary, and we are going to put the link up on our website. If you guys can get that back to your Board of Trustees ASAP, that would be great, no later than Tuesday. So, yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate you. Thank you. Okay, we love you guys. Do we have to wait for the light?
Good morning. Welcome to our announcements for the third week of March.
In addition to being the start of daylight savings and Pi Day, this coming Sunday is an auspicious day in the life of our spiritual home. Ministerial candidate Reverend Sheree Taylor-Jones will be joining us from the platform to share a message entitled, "Are you brave enough to be accountable for your consciousness?" It promises to be juicy. We will have an opportunity to get to know her better during the Going Deeper session, and then there'll be a feedback form emailed to you to provide your feedback. In case we don't have you on the email list, the link to the feedback form will also be on our website, unityhills.org. And we are excited to welcome Reverend Sheree to Austin and to Unity Church of the Hills.
Yes. And Sandra Vela, LUT candidate, has moved her introductory session of I Am the Word to Monday, March 22nd at 7 p.m. via Zoom. I Am the Word is the first of a series of channeled texts by Paul Selig. Deepak Chopra described the book as authentic, straightforward truth, straight from the source field. You can learn more and sign up at unityhills.org.
Our monthly virtual board gathering takes place on Sunday, March 21st at 1 p.m. via Zoom. This is an opportunity to stay informed about your spiritual community, connect with your fellow congregants, and ask questions of your board of trustees. Mark the date in your calendar. You'll find the Zoom link on our calendar at unityhills.org.
I have to make a little aside comment. I've noticed that we're doing announcements and Bob is just sitting there eating.
Look.
The rest of us. That seems unfair.
I think Bob's just here for the pie.
Is he? I'm just going to have some more pie too.
To become more engaged here at Unity Church of the Hills and become a member. Our new member class is coming up on Saturday, March 27th and on Saturday, April 10th from 10 a.m. to noon via Zoom, taught by licensed Unity teacher Bob Withrow, the Pie Eater, and by our Director of Spiritual Development, Tammy Lorraine. This abbreviated Zoom class is being offered while we are still primarily virtual. You'll learn more about Unity principles and your spiritual home. We would love to welcome you into our community and support you in our journey, your journey as well. Register today at unityhills.org.
That's right. Our theme for this year's Easter is metamorphosis, the E's of Easter: extravagant, extreme, exquisite, excitement. Easter is a time of renewal, both a literal and metaphorical changing of the seasons. It's also a celebration of life, a resurrection of all things new. It is new birth in consciousness, in heart opening, love, and in possibilities. Easter begins on Sunday, March 28th with Palm Sunday and culminates with our Sunday service on April 4th at 11:25 a.m. with Reverend Eliza's message, "Let God be God in you, anew and renewed." Learn more about Easter 2021 at unityhills.org.
We mentioned last week that we will honor and celebrate the life of our beloved Bob Heinrichs on Saturday, March 20th at 2 p.m. The service will be live streamed to a special page on our website dedicated to Bob Heinrichs, and the pavilion will be set up for watching the service with your fellow congregants. If the city of Austin moves to stage 3 with regards to COVID cases by March 20th, The sanctuary would then open for additional seating for a total of 50, including family. Bookmark the page unityhills.org/Bob Heinrichs and check there to RSVP if you plan to attend in person. Whether we are in stage 3 or stage 4, the pavilion will be open for seating for this very special and love service.
That's it for the announcements. Join us on Sunday. Don't forget to get pie for Pie Day and have an absolutely amazing week. We love you.